Professor Haokip, do you agree that the president rule is not required as of now?
We have been demanding president's rule right from the beginning of the violence. But since both at the center and the state, there is a BJP regime, and we know very well that the center is not willing to give up on this. And we have been suggesting that if you are, unable to impose president's rule in Manipur, then why don't you change the chief minister or someone who is in charge of the government? Then the central government has been reluctant even to that, and now both the communities did not trust the chief minister for a kind of governance in this emergency situations. So what we largely find is that we don't know who is governing the state, whether it's the center, whether it's the someone in Imphal, or whether it's the chief minister. So we are not really aware of who is responsible for governance in Manipur. That is the problem. So for a kind of semblance of governance to be there, we have to know who is in charge of it. And right away after a week, we have been saying that the chief minister has to go, but rather because of the ethnicity of the DGP, he has been replaced and sent to a certain other center posting. But we can see the chief minister being there in his position for quite so long till now, when all the trust has been gone from the people who voted him, or the people who have voted
The
all
reason why
those
I am asking
MLS.
this question is, when you remove the DGP, the message is there was a law and order issue. But as a journalist, I don't think Manipur is a law and order issue only. I think it's Mr. Haokip, it's a bigger issue.
Of course, it's a bigger issue. If you remove the DJP because of his ethnic or certain affiliations, or particularly how you look into it, how you paint to him, then you also remove the chief minister who has been, it's because of his under his leadership that this situation has happened. So if the BJP government in Delhi doesn't want to change or impose president's role, then at least change the leadership in the state, where people could have some semblance of trust in that leadership. But that doesn't happen after almost 2 months. So what is what is left with us? That's left with distrust. We are left with hatred. We are left with violence. All this is the result of the indecisiveness of the central government. What do we have? This is the end result of being indecisive, keeping someone in power until all houses are razed to the ground. That's what we have in Manipur.
Okay. Mr. Benjamin Mate, do you agree that president rule is required?
President rule at this moment, as my co-panelist has already stated, is very much required. But if the center has some reservation on imposing president rule in Manipur, at least animated suspension of assembly of Manipur is in fact the need of the hour, so that right now with the ethnic classes going on uncontrolled on the ground, and then the present CM, whom most of the Kogi people accuse him of starting the violence, has been still on the chair. So the kind of the kind of security that center expect will never happen until unless there is some kind of what to say, like extreme step being implemented in Manipur, taken in Manipur, I mean. And then I also want to put into perspective that this professor, a respected learned professor, has just mentioned in his speech, in his statement, that most of the valley are peaceful. Right now, I don't see. I want to defer to his statement, because most of the violence are right now happening in the valley. And if you can what to say, get a report from the ground, either in Kangpopi, Suchanpur, or More, most of the hill districts are now peaceful. And right now, most of the Kuki people, when the Honorable Home Minister Amit Shah visited Manipur, he requested both the community to maintain peace for at least 15 days. And Kuki has been maintaining that request by Honorable Home Minister. And so far, there is no attack from the Kuki side. It was from the Valley side which keep on attacking the Kuki. And that is very unfortunate. And for that, to curb that kind of aggressive aggression by the Valley people, we need at least animated suspension of assembly for some time, and so that the central government can completely take over the raw order situation in Manipur. And I hope if that happen within 2 weeks or 3 weeks, things will become normal in the valley as well as in the east. And plus, it has been a long-standing demand for not only Kuki but most of the tribal community in Manipur that tribal has not been given enough autonomy to govern themselves in Manipur. Like if to cite a few examples, like in Assam, Bodoland Territorial Council was given for the borders. There is other 6 scheduled areas in different tribes. Even in Mizoram, though it is a completely tribal state, Mara Autonomous District Council was given for the Mara tribe because they have been considered as one of the least developed tribe among the tribals. So in Manipur, if you see in Manipur, it has been a long pending demand for the tribals that at least certain kind of political autonomy for tribal has not been done by the center. And because of that, Nagas have their own political movement, and Kuki also we have our own political movement. And plus, inside the valley, inside the valley people are demanding complete cessation from India. And right now, most of the violence happening right now at the moment are suspected to be fueled by people. They are those Meitei elements, band organization, that terrorist organization, are hiding inside Burma to destabilize the law and order situation of the nation. It is not only for Manipur. It is going to be a big, what to say, kind of uh, uh, a big kind of incident for the entire India. And then we are also suspecting that this violence is happening, especially in the valley, that women for coming out in the street, blocking the army convoy to control the situation or destabilizing the entire system of the governance was meticulously planned from across the border. So we also suspected that there would be involvement of foreign intelligence agency in fueling the violence, especially in the valley. That I want to make that big statement.
Okay.
That is what I learned from the
My colleague Brajesh Pandey has a question for you.
Mr. Benjamin, you are saying that a foreign agency may be behind this, all what is playing out in the state of Manipur.
Exactly.
But you know, before the violence started, the N. Biren Singh government, your government was slightly on the rocks in the sense that you had 4-5 MLAs who had come to Delhi, and they were not happy with the style of functioning of the chief minister. And after that, this entire violence has played out, where your own MLAs are not very happy with the way things have panned out. Do you see this at a diminishing political clout of N. Biren Singh?
Now, in fact, N. Biren Singh, during his first tenure, in the first part of his tenure, actually, we saw him as one of the most competent leader of Manipur. But gradually, because of his hatred toward the Kuki people, and then he started antagonizing the Kukis on most of the cases, and plus, not only particularly the Kuki, but to the whole tribal community on various issues. Like to cite one example on this in Manipur, yes, we all know that there is one Article 371C, under that article comes Hill Area Committee. And in the last part of his tenure, the first term of N. Biren Singh, he tried to include around 10 MLAs in Hill Area Committee, which is against the constitution. And because of that, there was hues and cry from the valley, and the center was quick to intervene in that, and that is how we control the situation. From there onward, the trust on leadership of Biren has already completely declined. And even in the second term, he was not selected by the elected MLAs of BJP. He was indeed imposed by the center. So because of that, there has been loss of discontentment among the BJP MLAs, and because of that, as you mentioned, around 4 or 5 MLAs has resigned from their own from their capacity as chairmen of various departments, and from there onward, I don't know that overnight this violence has started, and now things has total
Okay.
chaos.
General Sivaj, I want to know how difficult this whole thing has become with the 51 member peace committee has completely collapsed. And the all hopes are on Indian army. You expect Indian army to do all the job when political leadership in itself and its initiatives have failed. Even if I say, okay, nothing's wrong with Biren Singh, there's nothing wrong with other people, okay, we give them benefit of doubt. But the biggest initiative of peace committee has failed. And then you expect army to do all sorts of jobs, from floods to restoring peace to maintaining law and order, and the list goes on.
Yeah, very correct. The present situation in Manipur is very complex. And very rightly said, I will also like to tell my viewers, when the problem started with China 2 years back in Ladakh and Kalwan, the troops which were here, the few of them were moved out. So as far as Manipur is concerned, density of army was less. It is only now number of columns have been brought in. So certainly the point is the people of Manipur have lost confidence in the police, which is divided on the ethnic line. We must understand that this is a fact, and that is the problem which started off. If you were impartial to act against people who were taking violence, then the violence wouldn't have spread. But having done so, now what is the present situation? The present situation is, are we really able to control the situation? Till now, that situation is not under control. But yes, I agree with it that it can come under control once the army is given a complete free hand, and also make sure that the basically magistrates are given to army column, because they know Armed Forces Special Power Act. That is where the problem is coming. Certain columns are not getting that facility. Having said so, I want to tell you 3-4 things. There is a suspension of operation, and the weapons of all those militant groups are locked, and there are 2 keys. One key is with us, one key with the militant group. So far, those weapons or those locks have not been tampered. There are more than 10,000 weapons lying there. And God forbid, in case if they lose confidence and faith, and those weapons are taken out, and that violence in the society will increase tremendously. So therefore, we have to act now, and we have to show to the people the violence has to come down. And very rightly, I said, yes, I will say that give the free hand to army, let them go out, make sure that you mean business. You cannot accept that leniency when the writers are coming. Very rightly brought by Pandit, that was people have thought that nothing will happen, and that's why the violence is increasing. So violence has to be brought down, things have to be brought under control, and this peace committee, you have to make sure, speak to the people, give them confidence. Why the people are not in the peace committee? Because they have lost confidence, I think, to the state government. And my point is, in case the situation is not coming under control, the central government is right to understand as to what is the ground situation, and they should not hesitate to bring even a governor law rule, because the point is, if Manipur boils, the whole northeast will have an indirect adverse impact. Imagine the Mizoram is totally connected with the hill tribes and all. That will make an impact. Then Manipur connected with basically Myanmar. What is happening there are just after the military junta has taken over, there is a total chaos and confusion in the western parts of Myanmar. The Chin community has come and settled down in certain part of Manipur. They are also involved in poppy and cultivation. There is also people settled down in reserve forest. All these are problems, but at the same time, there are a lot of weapons which are coming from Myanmar, and the China and ISI is also totally activated. So there are external angle involved to this. There is an internal angle involved to it, and we cannot allow situation in this sort to go from bad to worse, because Manipur is a jewel of the whole Northeast. Manipur is, in case have a turmoil or it is unstable, it will have direct impact to Nagaland, to Mizoram and to Tripura. So therefore, it is required that we must take a stern action and bring the situation under control. And if there is a requirement of Government of India to take even a harsh step to even impose a president rule, I suppose they should not hesitate, because first and foremost is, let's bring the situation under control. Imagine today it is a matter of concern. The main lifeline, which is the road going from Kohima to Imphal, is blocked, and therefore the necessary essential items are not going to come. Where in the rest of the part of the in the country you can allow such a situation? Since I headed a territorial army, I have experience of this. From Lamding to Silchar, it took us 67 years to convert the meter gauge into broad gauge. Once we brought territorial army, within 3 years they could able to handle. There is a railway line which is now coming from Jiribam to Imphal. Their progress is going very fast. From Imphal, then it will even go to Myanmar and then further. So therefore, today Manipur is a hub center of Northeast, and the progress in Manipur will have a direct impact on an Act East policy of central government. So in case violence continues in Manipur, it will have an adverse impact, and it will send a wrong message. And our enemies across the border, even Pakistan, China, as well as some militant groups in Myanmar, will make use of it. So therefore, we must act now. Time is come now.